great to see such a great crowd. Steve, I want to thank you very much for the very brief introduction. I know you all appreciate that as well. Governor Kehoe, Senator Schmidt, more words on this group over here as well. Chairman Smith and Representatives Alford, Miller, and Onder. Allies all, thank you all for being here. But most important, thank you to the patriots I'm looking at out in this audience, many of which are wearing beautiful blue shirts. And I'm delighted to be here in St. Louis, known as Fighterland, USA. And it is an important day. Boeing Defense announced just today that the headquarters is moving for defense, space, and security. It's moving from D.C. to St. Louis, as it should be. More out of Washington, more out of the heartland of America. There's 18,000 patriots already working here at Boeing, including 2,500 vets. And I'm here on behalf of the Department of War to thank you. That's what the Arsenal of Freedom Tour is all about, ensuring that our warfighters never fight in a fair fight, and they can't do that without you, without what is done here in Building 75, which is essential to the Arsenal of Freedom. But I'm also here to tell you and tell your leadership that we need you to build more. We need you to build faster. Faster, faster, faster. Cutting red tape, investing, putting the country first. Because the Arsenal of Freedom is not just about door kickers and pilots and the planes right behind me, or intel analysts or mechanics on the front line. It's about all of you. It's about your ability to provide the Eagle, the Super Hornet, the Red Hawk, the Stingray. See, for more than a century, St. Louis has designed, built, and tested the aircraft that American pilots fly. Your city helped lead the way on the nation's industrial transformation that won World War II. Great accomplishments. You are the patriots that are key elements to ensuring peace through strength. The machinists, the aerospace workers who dedicated their lives to precision and to skill. And all done right here in the United States of America. You see, for far too long, under previous administrations, we had leaders who thought we could outsource this work to other countries. That we could live in coexist in a global community where American skills and factories and shipyards didn't really matter anymore. Or that it was okay to operate not at the World War II pace, national production pace, but at a glacial pace of the over-budget, bloated prime contractors, and that's okay to be the norm. You see, Boeing and so many others used to build a lot faster. Some of it was because of your process, and some of that because of how we operate. And under President Trump, those days are finished. We're operating at the speed that our warfighters deserve and our warfighters need. We live in a realistic world where made in the USA and made with urgency matters. And I work for a commander-in-chief who even just today, the meetings we had this morning, which I apologize, I'm a little late, but I can't blame my boss. He will not take excuses. He looks at me, he looks at the chairman, he looks at other secretaries, and he doesn't want excuses. He wants outcomes. He wants solution. He wants speed. Because for decades before Donald J. Trump, politicians, professors, consultants, commentators, and lobbyists asserted that there was nothing wrong with depending on imports, on everything from our medicine to our national security. Outsourcing is good for America, proclaimed the scribblers in the Wall Street Journal. Well, to them, I say, let them tell that to the patriots who work here at Building 75 across Boeing Defense. When we unleash our companies, when we unleash American industry, when we unleash competitive spirit, America comes out on top. When we compete, when our companies compete, we win. When we innovate, we win. When we go fast, we win. And when we confront the norms and the status quo and say no more, then we will win. That's my job. That's our job at the War Department. We are in an ongoing, never-ending war of attrition against the Pentagon bureaucracy to unleash you so that you can unleash our warfighters. And in doing so, President Trump has some very basic guiding principles. First is America and Americans first. America and her security, her citizens, and her workers first, which is long overdue. The second principle, front and center, peace through strength. At the War Department, we are the Strength Department. Our job is to be the hammer when necessary, and hopefully not have to use it. But if we do, we'll fight to win. Never, not politically correct wars, not with one hand tied behind our backs. Fight overwhelmingly, violence of action, at the decisive point to win, giving our commanders everything they can conceivably need to include the authorities to close with and destroy the enemy. And our enemies know that. And so in doing so, you establish or reestablish deterrence. Whether it's at our southwest border, whether it's drug boats that shouldn't be running drugs in our hemisphere, whether it's Operation Midnight Hammer, 37 hours of beautiful B-2s, precision drops right into Iran and back before they even do it. Whether it's the Houthis and reestablishing freedom of American shipping, whether it's Maduro in Venezuela and a raid that no other country on planet Earth could conceivably execute, we are reestablishing deterrence, which is peace through strength. Because we had 4 years of war in Ukraine that never would have happened under President Trump. October 7th in Israel with Hamas, the debacle in Afghanistan, the invasion on our border, no more. No more political correctness, overwhelming deterrence. And from us to you, on your front, as it applies to peace through strength, that means less red tape, more incentives, and more speed on the factory floor. And of course, alongside America First and Peace Through Strength is a very simple but not so common ingredient in Washington, which is common sense. We're applying common sense across the priorities of the department. And that's why we're here on the Marshall Freedom Tour. In fact, stop after stop on this tour, we go to companies, major companies, large and small, and say, when's the last time a secretary was here? Big shipbuilders, builders of vehicles, innovators, subs, you name it. And they say never. Why not? Because there hasn't been a focus on the kind of innovation and speed that's required, that President Trump has required me to bring back to our defense industrial base. That's why we're here in St. Louis. That's why we're doing this over the next couple of months. Because we are required, given the moment that we're in the world today, to move fast, at scale, under cost, so that we can compete and out-compete America's adversaries. We are rebuilding the arsenal of freedom. President Trump did it in his first term, and we're going to do it again. And as you may have heard, the One Big Beautiful Bill provided $25 billion worth of investments. This ought to be ringing true to this audience. $25 billion worth of investments in military aircraft. Working and rolling in the right direction. By the way, 0 Democrat votes for the One Big Beautiful Bill. But there are a lot of yes votes. Representative Jason Smith of the 8th District is chairman of the very powerful House Committee on Ways and Means. Representative Mark Alford of Missouri's 4th of the House Appropriations Committee. Representative Mary Miller of Illinois 15. Thank you for being here. And of course, Representative Bob Onder of Missouri's 3rd. Thank you. We need allies in Congress in order to make things like this happen. And of course, in the Senate, thank you, Senator Schmidt, from day one for your efforts on the Committee on Armed Services. We went through a heck of a confirmation year together. But you've been strong and steadfast in support of this president from the beginning. Missouri's fortunate to have you. And you're right, he was in my ear on the F-47 from the minute I got this job. One thing I'll say to him, I say to him, Ben, and I say to everybody throughout this, you know who's going to win? The best product. The best product's going to win. Because my job is not to a company, not to, I love you, not to a senator, or not even to a state. is to the best capability to the warfighter. And what was clear, unambiguously clear, when it came to this F-47, Boeing was the best one to deliver. As you know, President Trump announced a goal of $1.5 trillion for our national security and defense in 2027. That kind of money sends a message to the world. Our job is to be wise with every single dime of it, to ensure that we're squeezing everything possible. Yes, it's going to be exquisite systems, but it's also pay for the troops, it's barracks, it's quality of life, it's ensuring those men and women that fly these things and maintain these things are taken care of the way that they should, as President Trump would always expect of me. Which brings me back to looking you in the eye. You are the workers who pour into their lives, and you pour your lives and careers into these planes. The best on the planet. Planes that fly 19,000 you should get to eventually, miles per hour. Ready to go to battle, and then give our pilots an opportunity to come home safe. You're the ones that give them the advantage. And at the War Department, we are creating an environment where you can, just like our warfighters, can do your job as quickly and efficiently as possible. But what President Trump says to me every day, and what I say to your leadership every single day, is not fast enough. Just know that what I'm saying to you is what I say to my same staff, what I say to the Pentagon, what I say to our uniform leaders, is the urgency of this moment requires moving as fast as humanly possible. And from our front, as a customer at the Pentagon, means overturning the entire way we do business. Not tinkering on the margins, adding a little bit more manpower here, or twisting the process a little bit here, overturning the process to open the aperture of what's possible. Because we can't wait years and spend billions waiting for some perfect solution 15 years in the future, and a product that never makes it to the hands of a warfighter. I tell my people every day, do everything you can with the precious moment that we have, gifted by the American people. Rip out the bureaucracy, streamline the process, get the products into the hands of warfighters. A constant and unrelenting war of attrition against the Pentagon bureaucracy. That's my pledge to you. We're changing the game, and urgency is our currency. Speed, efficiency, and competition. The One Big Beautiful Bill also strengthens our defense industrial base by providing a sustained demand signal that we want the best of American innovation and we want it now. In fact, I'm hearing yet another deal will be cut, if not today, soon tomorrow, by Boeing with others to move even more rapidly on exquisite systems that are needed for munitions for the warfighters. We're pushing, your leadership is responding. Responding because Boeing, like everybody else, needs to compete. And that means tough truths to your leaders, to our leaders, and to all defense primes. And President Trump signed an executive order on January 7th, ordering big defense contractors to be held to the highest standards, just like everybody else. The themes are simple. No more excuses. No barriers to entry for big guys or small guys. No more monopolies. No more egregious executive bonuses. No more stock buybacks. No more ridiculous CEO salaries. No more making lots of money while falling behind on product lines. The companies we invest in must prioritize our warfighters. They must put our warfighters first, and they must put you, the workers, first as well. The machinists and the aerospace workers, the workers who build these fantastic fighters in Fighterland, USA. I'm here looking into an audience of American workers who I believe, appreciate the spirit of that executive order that emanated from the resident desk of the Oval Office. Patriots like our president who are committed to the highest standards, who are committed to American manufacturing and made in America. Because as I said, at the end of the day, I don't care what company is printed on the side. of an airframe, on the side of a ship, or inside of a missile. We just want the best. I don't care how many lobbyists or accountants you have. That's one of the virtues of me coming into this position. I didn't work for a big company. I wasn't a general who worked with them. I came at it with a clear set of eyes and a mandate from the president to simply say, on behalf of the taxpayers and the warfighters, incentivize the best, rip through the process to streamline the best. If you are the best in the world of defense contracting, you are going to win. If you are not, we will make sure you lose. That's President Trump's Department of War. And your leadership knows that it's not about Wall Street, dividends, or stock buybacks. Or at least all CEOs know that now, straight from the mouth of the Commander-in-Chief. It's about the warriors and what we can deliver as fast as possible for them. It's about the workforce. That was the idea we conceived of this at the beginning of this tour. I get a chance, and it's incredible. We've got some warfighters in front of us, some pilots, some sailors, some folks from the Air Force. And I love the visual, because the visual fits. What they do at the tip of the spear on behalf of the American people is they raise their right hand and defend the Constitution, and all of us, putting their lives on the line. They're trained, they're lethal, they're ready. We're clearing out the debris for them to make sure they're trained and ready to go. But they quite literally can't do what we ask them to do without all the blue shirts behind them. Or another factory floor is all the hard hats behind them. It's the hard hats that have the backs of the helmets. It's all of you that prop them up so they can do their job on behalf of the American people. We started this tour simply to look you in the eye and tell you that, to ensure that you're as motivated as we are for the urgency of this moment. We have the best workforce in the world, the best assembly mechanics, the best flight operations mechanics, painters and testers and checkers and entrepreneurs and innovators, and you stand shoulder to shoulder with the warfighter. You should go home every night to your family, proud of what you're investing in, who you're investing in, the cause that you're investing in. This great American land and this great American experiment. You, your leadership, Boeing Defense, have taken that demand signal, and to the credit of your leadership, are running with it. Our only job is to say run faster, cut more deals, invest more deeply, not just in another shift, but a new product line. And then another product line next to it. Because it's not enough to just provide a little bit more. We need a lot of it more, given the stakes of the threats in front of us in the world. That's what the president demands of me. And as a result, I pass that demand signal back to you and your leadership. Go fast. Take risks. Because for far too long, we've allowed our critical defense industries to stagnate. A defense industrial base, call it a military industrial complex, that became effectively a government extension of stagnation, a maze of bureaucracy. We allowed our companies, too many of them, to produce peacetime science fair projects rather than operate under a wartime footing. All the while, wealthy CEOs and shareholders only got wealthier, siphoning off revenues into their own pockets through massive stock buyback programs instead of reinvesting into our national manufacturing capacity. Too many got complacent, too many got comfortable. Not anymore. The demand is invest in your plants and invest in your people. It's what I demand from the uniform side of our building. Invest in your people by stripping away the debris and making sure they are trained and accountable and disciplined, that they're ready and lethal, that they have everything they need at their disposal. The moment requires, whether it's the uniform side or industrial base, that kind of urgency. You know, after Operation Absolute Resolve, which was the Maduro raid in Venezuela, the world marveled at what only America could do. And I had a chance at the podium the next morning to look out and say, you just witnessed the grit, the guts, the gallantry, and the glory of the American warrior. They came home safe, having accomplished the single most sophisticated raid in world history. But it wasn't just the incredible men and women that were a part of that raid. It was the exquisite systems as well that helped protect them, and one of them was a beautiful Growler. Built here at Boeing, finished and delivered out of Building 75. And I've heard you're saying you're not going to take the plane. I don't know the saying, but I hear you say it. You're not taking the plane to the prom, you're taking it to war. I don't care, she was pretty to me. I thought that Growler and its capabilities, understanding what it can do, were absolutely beautiful. It protected our warfighters. It was built in America, built by Americans. Built by you. Just like these beautiful systems behind me, and the beautiful systems that flank us, and the others that I will see, and the next generation of systems. That if they're delivered on time, will barely be delivered on time. But if we do, the status quo of how we've done things in the past won't be ready on time. Which is why we have to ask ourselves, will the next one be built fast enough? That's the question we ask ourselves in the halls of the Pentagon every day. That's what we ask of your leadership. And our job is to give the runway to the level of motivation, the necessary runway, to the great people who we know have the level of motivation to make it happen. So when President Trump spoke over the radio to the Americans who went downtown Caracas, the last thing he said was, "Good luck and Godspeed." Now I know here that you make your own luck, because you're great at what you do. But Godspeed, because we need the skills and the precision and the growth and the investment and the scale that you have here. Our job is to ensure that you have everything you need in the process to rebuild and to build the arsenal of freedom. You see, I don't know how long I'll have this job. Another day, another year, who knows? Serve at the pleasure of the president, just like everyone else inside the Pentagon. But what I do know is that with every last breath I have on God's green earth, my job is to serve the warfighters, to ensure they have what they need when we ask them to make a tough decision. And you serve them as well, in the very same way, an extension in the chain, in the link to their success. So we're here in the Arsenal of Freedom Tour to thank you and to tell you, go fast and keep going. God bless you all. God bless all. Thank you.